The Basic Filmmaker just made a really cool video showing how he can use simple DIY lights to like enhance his set. Man, that is quite an intro he's got. Bah! Welcome to the channel. I'm Michael Lorem, DIY camera guy. So this is the setup that I've been using for my A4Q episodes. And that is a show where I answer someone's content and film creating questions in 4 minutes or less. But that show, in order to produce that, I need to be able to turn it over quickly. I need to be able to shoot that and not have a lot of setup. So the key is, like, this is my desk. This is where I work all the time. And I need stuff out of the way. If you look at the channel tour, although I've moved some stuff around already, I've mounted the lights from the ceiling. I've got everything up out of the way. But Dave Knop from Knop said in the comments that it would drive him crazy to put that reflector board over there every time I want to shoot. And I have to admit, it kind of drove me crazy too. So I took the light that was shining on this pot and changed the bulb in it and put it up here. And then I put a different bulb down here. And I also moved a little DIY light that I have in the back, the rim light, and I moved it up. So it's about a 45-degree angle behind and above me. So everything's mounted up out of the way. And let's take a look at all the lights and how I use them in this space. Now I can't like dim my key light and turn it off and on like Kevin does, but we can turn off some other ones. Alexa, turn the lights off.
A few things share that name. Which one did you want?
The lights. She's so moody today.
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna turn all this off. So here's my key light. We're gonna start with that. And then the first thing that I'll do is separate myself from the background. Like, see my hair, and this is a little annoying. So my hair just kind of blends in, it doesn't pop out. So we're gonna bring this hair light up, and that puts a little bit of light on my shoulders and on my hair, and that brings me out, separates me from the background. That's why I refer to that trash truck. So that is why I refer to that as a separation light. A lot of people call it separation light, backlight, rim light, hair light. They all do the same thing. They separate the person from the background. Now next is this fill. Like, this board works okay, yeah. It does the job, and that works fine, but it does block my way. So I added this little, and this is just like 60 watt equivalent. It is a high CRI LED bulb, but it's just a normal screw-in Edison style bulb in a little DIY fixture that I got. I do have a honeycomb on here to keep light from bouncing all over the place, but that does a decent job of balancing out that fill. So this is me. This is the subject. This is a classic like portrait 3-light setup, which normally I don't like that much when I'm shooting a movie. But in here, it does make sense. I have this light in a position where I'm getting Rembrandt light on my cheek. I'm lighting both eyes, and it's far enough over to the side where it doesn't reflect in my glasses too bad, but still gives me a little bit of catch light in my eye. The fill is a little harsher than I would normally use for a fill, but it's out of my way, and this looks okay. The lights in the back are all LIFX lights. They're Wi-Fi RGB color changing lights. So my background looks pretty boring right now, other than the awesomeness from the Basic Film. Where'd he go? Oh, there he is. So to bring this up, so here's all the lights on at the same time. So this is how I would normally shoot an episode, and I like this look because this is where I work. This is what I'm about. I'm about audio and editing and photography and filmmaking and content creation. So this kind of this relates to who I am and what my channel's about. I also like that it's not just flat background, flat plane behind me. It's at an angle. It gives a little depth and interest to the shot, and it speaks a little bit about who I am. On this side though, I have a black background. And the main reason I added that was so that I could separate myself from all the mess. I have another window like this, and the trim was here, and the window was there, and all. So the wall was one color, and then the window was another, and the white window frame looked like it projected out of my head, and it looked terrible. Another benefit with this setup is as long as I'm not, whoops, I'm on the wrong side. As long as I'm not cut off on this side on the frame, as long as I just go up to the black, I can take this video and shift it over in post and then add a black matte. Well, I just did that to show you, but I don't even have to add a black matte because the black is in the background. And that leaves me this black area over here, which doesn't work when I've waved my hand. So if I should, so I have this black area over here that I can add graphics or something like that I'm talking about. It gives me a nice area to just add more information. Hi, puppy. So that works pretty well. Now let's take a look at all the lights I have in the background one at a time and how I'm controlling them. This is just an Android tablet, the only non-Apple thing that I own because I'm Apple fanboy. Terrible. So let's turn these off and let's look at them one at a time. So this is the separation light, and whoops. Silly me, I hit the wrong button. So that is a light. It's just like an IKEA light, like a wire that you screw a light bulb into, and I have it held in place behind the camera with some of those rubber. Well, bless you, little one. Bless you. I have the light positioned with a Nite Ize Gear Tie, and I use these things for so much stuff. It's kind of crazy. The next light is this camera light, and this one will add a little bit of detail to the camera, and it'll add highlights right here to this equipment. So see how dark it is right now? I'll bring that one up. So that adds a little bit more color to the background. Now my desk is looking a little gray and dark, and then this corner up here, this just looks a little dark, so I'm going to add this light. It gives a little like visual contrast to everything. And then this pot right here, it kind of just blends in. So I wanted a little pop of fill right there just to give myself a little bit of highlight. So that's, let's see. So the LIFX lights, I have 1, 2, 3, I have 4 of those. So I have 4 lights in the background, which seems like a lot, but I have a ton of control over them, and I can use these to change everything. So those 4 lights probably cost me about $200, but it doesn't mean you couldn't use a regular like LED bulb or a colored bulb or something like that. There really is no fixtures to them. I just screw the bulb into the cord. I mount it with gear ties. This one's mounted with gear ties, and I have a piece of black wrap to keep the spill down. That one has a little piece of black wrap on, or a piece of tape on it, so it doesn't go onto the background. And the other light is right here. Let me show you. The light that's reflecting off of all this equipment is right here. So this blends in now. It used to bother me that when I was moving around, that light would like poke up over my shoulder, and I just didn't like the way that looked. So now I just wrap it in black wrap. It's in front of a black background. It just blends in. But that light adds highlights to that. So let's take these away, and I'll just add them one at a time. Actually, I'm going to turn these off too. You know what? I'm gonna turn all of them off for a minute. There's this one. I don't have the fancy way to turn off my key light. So now we just have the Basic Filmmaker, and let's see these lights one at a time. This is the one for my camera. It has a nice punch of color back there. This one adds a little bit of color to the background and some spectral highlights to this audio equipment, my audio interface. It's raining right now, so my dog's like kind of scared. Sorry, baby. The desk light, you can see it doesn't really add a lot of illumination to the space in general, but it does light up this desk. And then this little light that I have on this pot. So I bring these all up, and this is kind of what I would normally look like. Then to separate myself from the background, I use this one, and then my fill is right here, and then my key, and I have to go to do that. Now, one thing I did change from the other day is on the key light. I added some of this, what is it? It's like egg crate stuff that you put on fluorescent fixtures, like in office buildings and stuff. And I just chopped it up, and I used another gear tie to hold that on my light. I just did that this morning to see if it worked. And it does like cut the spread of that LED light panel down. I'll probably spray paint it black and make one that's a little less rough. I just wanted to see if it would work, and it does. So what if, like one thing I do like about these LIFX lights is the control I have over them. So I can dim them, you know, I can make this darker and brighter. I can change the color to green. I can make it red. A couple of my favorite channels, female channels, are Michelle B and Lavender. I'm into minimalism also, and just self-improvement in general. I really like their channels. But both of them, like, you know, like a lot of the female channels will go with like a lavender, pink. They won't have like deep blacks in their images. Everything is like high key, really light and everything. And if you were doing a setup like that and you use these LIFX lights, you could shift the color to purple, but that's too much chroma. So we're gonna just pull that towards the white, keep it the same color though. And we'll just have that little bit of lavender hint to it. Then I'll pull up the next light. I'll shift that to this lavender color. And that is on, that's on the audio equipment. Maybe we'll make that a little less vibrant. Actually, I could shift that like the other way and do a contrasting color, but we're not gonna go there since we're trying to imitate a channel that would be like in a lavender space. We'll pull up this desk light. We'll shift this one to lavender also. And then the light on this pot. So normally it comes up in this white spectrum. And like if you look at this pot, see how blue it is? That, it's like right there, it's at 9,000K. It's over 9,000. Well, anyway. And then I can shift that to 25K. And so that's a warmer light source, but it makes this blue pot look really muddy. So I can like shift that warmth up farther and farther into the white spectrum. And like right here is daylight and it looks accurate. But I'm gonna shift that up, and I think I usually like it right around there. That looks nice. But in our case, we want this lavender kind of image, right? So I'm gonna shift this to the purple. I'm gonna boost the chroma way up there. Maybe I'll shift it a little bit, tiny bit to the red. So now our pot is more fitting of the purple look. So when I'm done with this, I can say I want to add a new scene and then check off the lights that I want to add to that scene, say OK, and now I have this scene as a saved scene. So I can go back to the scene that I had originally set up for my setup, but say I have different clothes and different lighting setups look better with different clothes. I can just pick another scene any way that I want. So I can shift to this one, or I could shift back. I could create a whole bunch of them and just hit one button and it changes all the LIFX lights to the same thing. So that's really handy. It's kind of awesome. And you know, the LIFX thing is a splurge. So those 4 lights were probably a couple $100-ish. And the stuff to mount them was probably, with the exception of that magic arm, mounting all the lights and the electrical parts were probably less than $10 a light. So it's not extremely expensive, and you could use regular LED light bulbs. I'll put a link to the LIFX lights and the high CRI screw-in bulbs. If you vlog in your home, what I've done is I'm systematically replacing all the bulbs in my entire house so that they're daylight balanced, and so they're high CRI lights, so everything's the same. So when my son is vlogging in the house, we don't have color temperature shifts, and it always matches to the light outside. And that is working pretty awesome so far. But I really like these bulbs. They're a little bit more than the other ones, but they're dimmable and they're 95 plus CRI, and they work great for DIY projects. So I'll cover details on this stuff, individual way I'm setting each one of these up, and I'll just put all this in a playlist so you can see how I tweak the lighting on this setup for my quick YouTube setup. And if you go check out the channel tour, you'll see how I have the camera mounted on the wall, how I have the lights hanging from the ceiling. I guess if you have film or content creator questions, leave them in the comments below. I'm always looking for interesting questions to answer on my A4Q show that I use this setup for. That's all I have for today. Love y'all, and I'll see you next time. I will have links to Knop and the Basic Filmmaker in the description of this video. Go check out their channels and the Basic Filmmaker's video that I have totally stolen this from. Thanks, Kevin. Bye. So what do you think about this autofocus lens? I don't know. I just like the old vintage lenses better than this autofocus stuff. It just seems, I don't know, like, do professionals actually use autofocus? I don't know. I guess I'm old school.